here we are on our way back to Minnesota. It's been a couple days since we did an update on our vacation. We have a lot to fill you in on. Oh
yes,
my God.
It has been quite an adventure here, especially over the last day.
But last you heard, we were still in Pirate Harbor
in Punta Gorda.
Punta Gorda, yeah, beautiful place. And we took one last opportunity to enjoy the space of the nice house that we were in and did another yoga session. By the way, when you're on vacation, doing yoga is especially nice because, you know, you spend a lot of time sitting in the car, and as you can see from the video, the dogs really enjoy participating too.
Yeah, I do miss my bicycle. There's a lot of opportunity to bike on the Gulf Coast of South Florida, and I miss the running too. I had made a commitment to do a run out in the beautiful sunshine, but I never got to that. But hey, I'm on vacation, I guess, so I'll cut myself some slack.
So the vacation went flawlessly. We left up until Punta Gorda, and then we left there, crossed the state along Alligator Alley. That was fun too. Had a great time in the car.
And seeing the Everglades.
And we were really excited because, you know, we were traveling and booking our accommodations with AirBnB and, you know, staying in fun, kind of quirky, interesting spots. In Fort Lauderdale, we were scheduled to stay in a 53-foot Hatteras yacht, and that's kind of where everything went funky.
Really funky.
Smelly funky, weird funky, freaky funky.
I think you just have to, like, provide the chronology and summary of how that all went and what that really means.
Okay, so step one, we show up at the address listed for the yacht in Fort Lauderdale, and it's this weird little house, and, you know, we're texting the guy, and he's like, well, I'll come out to the gate to meet you, and no one comes out to the gate to meet us, but the gate is open, so I kind of wander through, and I'm like, hello, are you here? And you know, go past this kind of breezeway area that's like packed full of garbage and stinky garbage. And then as I'm walking toward the backyard where the water is, I kind of look to my left, and there's a window there looking into the house, and you can see that it is also like filthy and full of garbage. It's like a garbage house. And in the backyard, there's this weird guy just sitting there staring at the water, looking all, you know, mopey and depressed. And I asked him, like, are you James? And he was like, no, who are you looking for? I was like, well, James. And he was like, all he says is, like, with this really grumpy smile, grumpy expression on his face, he's not here anymore. So we end up texting back and forth with this guy named James, and he's like, oh no, I moved. Didn't I send you the new address? So now we've got to go to another location, and turns out it's at basically an RV park.
It's
tacky.
Called a marina, but it is only in concept a marina. It's a giant, filled to capacity with gigantic RVs, one after another, kind of like a giant trailer park. Kind of probably get the picture. That's what it is.
And there is a dock.
Intermittently, there's boats along this dock.
Yeah, and the dock is like warped and like like funky and weird. Yeah. And, you know, we get to the boat, and, you know, our host, you know, takes us to the boat and starts giving us the tour, and immediately I'm noticing, like, this boat is in not as good a shape as the pictures looked. I mean, it was funky from the get-go, but I'm thinking we're gonna make the most of this boat, and, you know, and so he hands off the keys and takes off and leaves, and George starts hauling stuff to the boat. I've got the dogs in the boat. I'm managing the dogs, trying to get it sort of set up and get familiar with it, and start noticing this boat is really funky. Like, the windows are all so corroded with rust and salt that none of them will open. Like, so you're in the main salon of this boat and it's sweltering hot and sunny and you can't open any of the windows. I mean, they won't move. And they're just gross and stinky, and like they haven't been cleaned or opened in years. And so anyway, I find much more other gross stuff, and George is bringing stuff, and finally he comes onto the boat, and I'm like, I don't think we should stay here.
I make my way down to the galley, aka kitchen, and I use that term loosely. And I am opening up cabinets, I'm looking at the surfaces, and I can't believe how filthy. It's like a garbage house on water. I open the refrigerator, and there's a whole bunch of old food in there.
That's rotten.
Half used packs of hot dogs, a pizza box that I wasn't willing to open to examine.
But you could sure smell it.
Yes, a half-gallon jug of milk, I believe, that had yellowed and didn't have a cap on it, and you kind of get the picture there. There was no surface that wasn't filthy, with dirt on the cabinets, on the handles, everywhere. Even the dish rack, the drying rack, was filthy, which is hard to believe. I didn't want to touch anything. I didn't want to like sit anywhere. It was just disgusting. There's a bedroom in the front of the boat.
The cuddy cabin.
Yeah, that had these comforters thrown over to hide the entire bedding area, and I can only imagine
there was mounds of stuff. There was mounds of stuff underneath so it looks like he was trying to tidy up the boat, and just threw everything on the beds and then threw blankets over them. And then on another bed, there was a pile of soaking wet, mildewed rags. Like, so they just reeked of mildew and soaking wet, laying right in the middle of the bed.
We may need to take a break here because we're coming up to a toll plaza on the Florida's Turnpike here. And so we'll be back with you in a second.
So we're back. We've changed drivers and we've changed states. Now we're in Georgia. Woo-hoo! Making good time on our trip back to Minnesota. So where we left off, we had discovered we were on this boat. We were going to be renting a boat. We were going to have a dinner party for friends at No Kill Nation, and we got this boat, and it was just like a garbage boat, filthy. And we finally realized we were not going to be able to clean it ourselves. We needed to bail, and so we bailed. Needed to find another place to stay, needed to get all our stuff off the boat, back in the car. Dogs are all confused at that point.
I'm confused at that point. But I was sure I wasn't going to sleep in a bed on
that boat. Yeah, right. Exactly. So fortunately we were able to get out. The fantastic GPS system in the Prius could point us to a nearby La Quinta Inn on the way down.
Another La Quinta to the rescue.
Yay, La Quinta. So all was good. You know, we got in the car, headed out with all our stuff up to the La Quinta, checked in, everything was great, and then we noticed
a comfy bed and everything. It felt so good to be there.
As we're leaving the office to drive around the building to get to where our room was, we noticed the car is giving us a signal saying no key detected, no key detected, and we're like, huh? How could it?
Maybe explain what Toyota Priuses do.
Yeah, lots and more and more cars do now have these electronic key fobs that manage the car, let the key fob lets them know that the driver's around and has a key and all that kind of fun stuff, and it really controls the whole car. You can't turn it on without a key fob. You can't unlock the doors without a key fob. So there we are. We're at our hotel. Everything's good, but we can't find the fob, and the car is telling us it's not in the vehicle, and we're like, wow, oh gosh, what did they do with it?
Where is it?
Where is the key? And I realized that when we were leaving, we had gotten a key to the RV park.
Marina.
The marina, yeah. And so we needed to turn that in at the office when we left, and I was wondering when I did that, maybe I left the key in the car there, because we had started the car. We knew when we started the car, we had the key, and so there's a really short space between when we could have lost it, and that was
Just enough time
to lose the key. Yeah. So we called the marina, and they said, no, you didn't leave it here, but somebody turned in a set of keys, and it turned out, with some descriptions, discovered, yes, sure enough, they were our keys. They were there. But now we're like a long ways away at this hotel, and we can't drive our car, and because we had turned it off and couldn't turn it back on because we didn't have a key. George took a
wild cab ride. Guy was very nice, but it was a wild cab ride through rush hour, and I mean rush hour stopped traffic in South Florida. And Miami. It's all kind of blended together, it seems. Anyhow, traffic hell.
So he gets to the key and finds out the key fob has been run over.
Taped up.
It's barely here.
And I'm wondering if it's
our key fob.
Don't mess with that. It's got to get us home.
It's not functioning at all right now. So at that point, we were really fortunate that it was kind of sort of functioning, so we could turn the car on and off. It would at least let us in the car and let us turn it on and off, but other things weren't exactly working right. So in the morning, we decided to head out to the local Toyota dealership to see if we could get it replaced. We called them in the morning. They said they had them scheduled me for an appointment to pick up a new key fob, have it programmed. All looked like it was going to be good to go.
And we were going to stay longer in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, we decided to extend our stay for a day, spend more time with Debbie Dave from No Kill Nation, just make a day of
Florida.
it. Yeah. And so I got out to Lipton Toyota, where I had the appointment to get the new key fob, and lo and behold, they didn't have one. So after driving all the way out there and coming back, driving all the way out there, they didn't have a key fob. They said they checked the database of the other dealers around, and none of them had a key fob that we could use. And to make matters worse, in the manipulating and handling of the key fob, it completely stopped working. So now the car doesn't recognize the key fob at all. Fortunately, when I got to the dealer and before they started fiddling with it, I did not turn the car off. So the car was still running, which is the only reason you see us moving right now. Yeah. So we decided that really, and the only way that we were going to get back to Minnesota, because they were saying it was going to take a week to order up another key fob for the car, and we could not stay in South Florida for another week. Just couldn't do it. And so we had to decide that we had to get back to Minnesota without turning the car off at all. So whenever we stop the car, we have this natural reaction to hit the power button on the car so that we, turn it off. It's just an automatic reaction. To prevent ourselves from doing that, we have rigged up this little device, a little styrofoam cup cut off and taped over top of the power button. So
it's worked so far.
I've hit that cup with my finger twice so far. So our goal is to lock up the car, leave it running. Because it's a hybrid, we'll turn off all the electrical devices. The gas part of the vehicle should not run through the evening at all. It should be locked, it should be quiet and basically shut down, but the car will technically be on. That's our goal. We contacted the nice folks up at Inver Grove Toyota, where we bought the car, and they were like, that might work.
You did all of the things that we recommend or could think of, and some that we didn't.
So wish us luck. It's been an adventure for sure, and here we are on our way back to Minnesota. You're gonna have to wish us luck. Have to say, follow up to the Airbnb situation with the yacht rental. Called them from our hotel at La Quinta, and immediately they apologized and refunded the entire thing, no questions asked. They were just really super nice about it. So while that part of our Airbnb experience, like the boat, was not up to snuff, the rest of our Airbnb experience was absolutely great.
And Airbnb said that our experience of the boat is atypical of most every experience with Airbnb providers.
Yeah, and so even though we had that experience on the boat, our other experiences on this trip with Airbnb were really nice. And if you want an inexpensive, quirky, and fun travel experience, we highly recommend it. So, thanks for watching. Wish us luck getting home.
We'll be at the La Quinta, of course, in Atlanta tonight if all goes as planned.